A lot of positive things happening in training camp so far, but there's one issue that the Niners would probably prefer us not discuss. So let's discuss it. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Cohn Zone. That's Lowell Cohn. I'm Grant Cohn. We're watching training camp. Brock Purdy's doing well. Mac Jones is doing well. There's a lot of things to be encouraged about. But there is one big issue going on right now. Dad, what would you say the Niners' biggest trouble is right now?
Let's give it a title. The title would be The Trouble with the 49ers.
I like that.
Okay. We both know what we're thinking. Why don't you say what it is?
Well, what happens is there'll be a practice and you'll be focused on all the plays, and then one person will limp off the field. And the Niners eventually will say, oh, so-and-so pulled their hamstring, but it's not serious. They'll be back soon. And it's like, okay, it's football, happens. And then the next day, it's someone else. And then the next day, it's someone else. And now we're 6 days in, and they've had a lot of injuries, and most of them are soft tissue, calf, hamstring.
Okay. I'm not covering the league anymore, and I'm not covering any other team. So I don't know if what the Niners are experiencing is normal or abnormal.
The Bills are experiencing something similar, but it's essentially abnormal.
I say it's abnormal, and I would add alarming.
Yes.
I would add alarming. So, let's be frank.
Listen.
Iggy, I want to do it two ways. First-round draft picks who have injuries, and then current players who have injuries.
Sure.
So, first-round draft picks, there's the defensive lineman. What's his name? Who hasn't been playing?
Michael Williams, this year's first-round pick, 11th pick in the draft.
And he's a hell of a player, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we don't know, but yes.
He gives the signs that he might be a hell of a player. We don't know.
Yes.
Pearsall won't be a hell of a player. He won't. But he could be a dependable player, a valuable player. They're both not currently, neither one worked out today, right?
Neither one.
Okay. And in their past, Javon Kinlaw, they got him, and he had knee issues that were known.
And he often couldn't practice, particularly in training camp with the Niners.
Yeah. So you'd have to say, I'm going to come back to the adjective alarming. Why do they do that? Why do they go after people so high up who have question marks about them and who turn out to be in and out players?
Yeah, I mean, with Pearsall, he was at the end of round one, so it's not as big of a risk as Michael Williams, but he had hamstring injuries in college. And then with Michael Williams, he didn't hurt his knee or anything like that, but he played on an ankle injury all of last year, and he said it affected him at the combine and his pro day. It's like more than 6 months of an ankle injury affecting him, and the Niners drafted him anyway. I guess they thought it wasn't that serious or it was behind him, and now it's here again. So they constantly keep thinking that injury issues, a guy who's injured when they come to the team will just healthy up or something.
Yeah, now we don't know if it's the same ankle. So he appears to have sustained the same injury again, but we got to be careful in how we phrase it. It's disturbing. Now, let's talk about, forget first-round picks, all the players who are hurt and really not practicing a lot right now.
Yeah.
Can you go, and let's count them.
Well, yeah. Jawan Jennings has a calf injury. And when they say calf, it sometimes means Achilles. They haven't given us any indication. He hasn't been at camp practice the last 2 days, not even standing there.
One.
Lenore wasn't there today. They didn't say why. We asked someone with the team, and they said, I don't know.
That's two.
Yetur Gross-Matos, who's supposed to be one of their important defensive linemen, has a knee injury and hasn't practiced at all offseason.
That's three.
Jacob Cowing pulled his hamstring. He's out.
That's four.
Brandon Ayuk's been out.
That's 5. How about Pearsall?
Pearsall's out. I mean, Pearsall missed the first 3 days, missed all of OTAs and minicamp, missed the first 3 days. They said it's okay. He came back day 4, had a full practice. Day 5 out there again, stopped practicing halfway through. The Niners didn't say why. I saw him standing there. And then today he wasn't out there. And they say it was a rest day. So he's been resting for the last day and a half.
I'm going to put him on injured for Lowell Cohn list. I'm going to put him on injured. That's 6. Is there anyone? Well, is there anyone I'm missing? Lenore? Did we do Lenore?
We did Lenore. That's all that I can think of right now, but I'm sure there's more.
Iggy, that's pretty serious. The first round draft choice who's supposed to really solidify.
Renardo Green, the number 2 cornerback. He's really important. Starting cornerback, hamstring.
7.
So
these are 7 really important players, Iggy.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. Now, I want to say, I assume that the Niners have the best doctors and the best trainers. I'm making that assumption, and I'm not in a position to say anything else. I assume they have the best. There's a lot of calf injuries and a lot of hamstrings. As you know, I used to run. You know how to warm up a hamstring, Iggy. It's been known.
Yeah.
You start out, you do some jogging, then you do your stretching, and then you do wind sprints. You start at maybe 50% and you work up till you're at 90 and 100% for a few of them. And you can feel that your hamstrings are hot. They're ready. They're ready to go. I assume these people know that. I mean, this is high school stuff, Iggy. I assume that the players know how to warm up, but they keep getting these calf, ankle, and hamstring pulls or whatever they are. I don't understand it. I don't. I'm baffled by it. But it's not your problem. It's not my problem. It's the 49ers problem, and they haven't figured it out.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is they were telling themselves they're going to have a different year, a good year this year, because they're going to take training camp more seriously, and everyone's going to be there, and they're going to get so much out of this time. And they're trying to. They're putting their best effort out there, but they're all getting hurt, and now it seems like they're not getting the benefit that they were hoping to get from this time. I mean, this has been sort of hasn't been that much a successful first week. They've lost 7 players in 6 days. 6 players in 6 days. Ayuk was already out.
And then people could say, well, it gives other players a chance to show what they can do. Baloney. You want your best players playing. You don't want the other guys. You want to get the best players ready for the season. So please don't say that in the comments because it's baloney.
And what's crazy about these last 2 first-round picks, so they took Mykel Williams over this offensive tackle named Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons fell to the end of round 1. He was hurt. He had a torn patella tendon, and a lot of people felt, man, if he hadn't torn his patella tendon, he would have been the number 1 offensive tackle taking a top 5 pick. He's really special, but that's a serious injury. And the Niners felt he was too much of a risk. So they took Mykel Williams, who had an ankle injury. Doesn't sound as bad as a patella tendon. Thing is, guess who's kicking ass in Kansas City right now in training camp? Josh Simmons. Day after day, putting out highlights, like throwing people to the ground. He looks like Trent Williams, like young Trent Williams. And Mykel Williams, he's had some moments, but he's hurt again. That's a gut punch. And then Ricky Pearsall, remember, for a minute, we thought the Niners were going to take Cooper DeJean. They didn't. They took Ricky Pearsall. Cooper DeJean just got voted by his peers, the players in the league, as one of the top 100 players in the league recently.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
I want to come back to the injuries. We don't know if Pearsall is gravely injured, but if he were all right, I would think he'd be practicing more.
Yeah.
I mean, they really need him.
Yeah.
And they need him to be a guy who's not in and out. They need him to be a guy who's in day after day. And the fact that he doesn't seem to be in day after day troubles me. And I'm not even involved.
Yeah. It's not like he's some 32-year-old wide receiver who has 5,000-yard seasons under his belt, and he just needs to get to Sunday. Like, he needs to develop, and he can't do that. We interviewed Clay Kubiak, the de facto offensive coordinator, this morning. Someone asked him about Ricky Pearsall, and he used this coach speak phrase like 17 times. He's like, Ricky, he can do it all. He just needs to stack days. For him, it's just all about stacking days, which just means being there day after day. And it's funny, he said that at 9:30 in the morning, unbeknownst to us, that Ricky would not stack another day. We thought he'd be stacking days, but he didn't stack one today. So I guess he knew.
Iggy, I'm going to give a synonym to stacking days. Be a football player.
There's that. Because if you're not, players, you're just like a rehabilitator.
Yeah. A football player plays.
Yeah.
Right? A football player plays more than he doesn't play or than he rehabilitates. Yeah. So stacking days means, can we count on him? He just needs to be a football player. Well, I agree. I agree. He needs to be a football player. Be out there every day.
Yeah. So same with Michael Williams.
And Iggy, isn't tomorrow an off day?
Yes, it is.
So he will.
Why would you give Ricky Pearsall a rest day the day before a rest day? That's what I don't understand.
And they gave him a half a rest day the day before.
See, something's not adding up.
Something's not adding up. So that's 2.5 rest days in all. Yeah. I'm an old man. I need rest days. I need an afternoon nap, but he doesn't. No. So, Iggy, I find it alarming, and I don't think we're getting the full story. Let me rephrase it before you say something. It appears we may not be getting the full story.
Yeah, I don't think we are. King Drizzy says, what the hell does the conditioning team do?
I don't know, but it seems to me that the players ought to know themselves how to warm up a hamstring. I did when I was 16 years old.
It seems to me that like 20 years ago with the double days, football players, like what they had to worry about was the concussions and the head-to-head collisions over and over again. Now it's about like you're condensing all of that into 90 minutes. It's about how many people are going to pull hamstrings in that day because you're doing a full 2 a day in an hour and a half.
I think they were lucky better when they had 2 a days.
Sign Brian Allen. One hell of a cornerback. All right, Dad. So I've been really impressed with Mac Jones at practice. He's completing, I'm charting his numbers. Brock's completing 69% of his passes, which is great. Mac's completing 78% of his passes, and he's thrown 1 pick in 6 days. He's playing with backups. I'm not saying he's better than Brock because I don't think he's better than Brock, but I do think he's better than Jimmy. So, do you want to know why?
I do.
Okay. The reason Brock is better than Mac is because Brock is really mobile. And he's so quick. Every time I watch him, it's surprising just how fast he is. His first 3 or 4 steps, he really can get away from whoever he needs to get away from. And Mac can't do that. It's a very special ability that Brock Purdy adds. But when it comes to just throwing a football, Mac's at least as good as Brock. At least as good as Brock. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, well, I'll ask you. One of the things, Brock, is so impressive is the short to medium pass over the middle. Can Mac do that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Pretty well? Absolutely.
Very well. He has the touch. It's a catchable pass. He doesn't fire it in there. It's very accurate. He's looking to take the intermediate and short stuff. He's not trying to force it down the field. And yes, he can absolutely do that stuff.
Does he throw with anticipation?
Yes.
Does he seem to read the defense?
Yes. The ball comes out of his hands very quickly, as opposed to Sam Darnold, his first year with the Niners. It took him a while to figure that stuff out.
Can he throw a screen pass?
Yes. Yes. Yes, he can.
Can he throw down the sideline medium to deep?
Yes, he can. He has a stronger arm than Brock Purdy.
He does.
He does. Now, he doesn't have a Tom Brady arm, but he can throw outside the numbers and he can throw deep. That's what really separates him from Jimmy, in my opinion. I think he has this nice deep ball that has arc and trajectory that Jimmy never had. And it also seems like this is what I'm most impressed with Mac. He's been on the team for a few months. He learned the offense in OTAs in mini. I saw what it looked like. He was hesitant, as anyone would be their first time through. Now it's his second time through. He gets the ball, he takes his drop, hits the back foot, throws the ball. And it looks boring, but it looks like he's been in the offense for 10 years.
I see what you mean.
The ball comes out on time. He finds a guy who's open. It's easy and boring. Another completion. All day. It's kind of what you want.
And you're saying what separates Purdy from him is maneuverability and quickness?
Yeah, which I think is important, especially behind this offensive line. But you don't have to move to be a really good quarterback. Peyton Manning didn't move. Tom Brady didn't move.
Is Mac taller than Purdy?
Yeah, that's another thing that he has going for him. Purdy's 6'1", Mac 6'3".
Ah.
Yeah. Now, he's just marginally quicker than Jimmy. He labors a little bit around the field. But he has better pocket presence than Darnold. Darnold's a good athlete and he can run, but I always feel like he's lost in the pocket and moves into pressure, whereas Mac can slide around better.
I see. Maybe a better athlete than Sam.
I don't know if I put it that way. I think Darnold probably is better at golf and basketball, but Mac has that quarterback footwork. Mac's probably better at tennis.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Have you met him?
Not one-on-one. He's talked to the media one time, and he was very thoughtful and not subdued, but kind of quiet.
Okay, but
yeah.
he seemed to be there some depth there.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about him, he won a national title at Alabama, playing with a really good team. He completed like 77% of his passes that year. Then he went to the Patriots, a team that had just missed the playoffs with Tom Brady. He made the playoffs the next year in his rookie year. And then that organization fell apart and he's been on bad teams since. So now he's finally on a good team with a good system. And it seems like he's a really good fit for it.
It's interesting, Iggy. I don't know him. I've never met him. I never will meet him. But he's someone who has suffered.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's something to be said for suffering in life.
Yep.
It makes people very determined.
Mm-hmm.
The people who can get over it. Some people never do. It seems like he's gotten over it. It makes you very focused. My battery is low. Hold on. It makes people very focused, Iggy.
Mm.
And it makes people perform better.
Yep. That's an interesting concept you just bring up, because the Niners' last three quarterbacks have been instant successes. Brock, Jimmy.
Iggy, I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Did you lose me? You can't hear me? Uh-oh. Chat, can you hear me? Is it just my dad? Uh-oh. I think you unplugged your They can hear me.
Iggy.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Iggy, I'm going to sign off and sign on again, okay?
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
I think what happened was his computer wasn't plugged in, and then he plugged in his computer and somehow that messed up his AirPods. I don't know how to explain it to him. I could call him in a minute. That was rough. I hate when that, because this was a good show, man. This show was, his Bluetooth dropped. It's tough to explain Bluetooth to a 79-year-old, although he's pretty good with Bluetooth. Here's the thing. He's going to pop back in. Do you think it'll work just because he left and came back in? I think that might not fix the issue. I'll call him if I have to. Well, I'll put you guys on speakerphone. You guys can explain it to him. Can you guys tell that I'm like becoming a Mac Jones fan? I also like Brock Purdy. I'm not saying I like Mac Jones more than Brock Purdy. Like, it's more fun watching Brock Purdy play football than Mac Jones. Because Mac Jones is like just a cerebral pocket quarterback. And it's really fun watching a guy who can run around and make plays. But there's something to be said for a Mac Jones type too. All right, let's see if this works. What do you think? Yes.
Can you get me? Yeah.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody, I apologize.
All right.
I'm an idiot, but I'm back now for what it's worth.
That's all right. It happened. Let's take a super chat. King Drizzy says our linebackers aren't being talked about enough, in my opinion. Well, it's hard. They'll be talked about as soon as a preseason game happens and they start making tackles. It's hard to know what they're going to do before then.
Okay, what? Hold on, because Iggy and I were talking about this the other day, and he said it's some positions are harder to judge than others during training camp. And you mentioned running back and linebackers, right?
Running back and linebackers. Because to me, a running back is like, did you break the tackle or not?
Right.
Did you make the guy miss or not? And in camp, they tag you. So it's hard to say, oh, he would have gotten tackled there. Maybe. He would have made the tackle. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So the point is, it's in a way hard to talk about running backs and linebackers until there's actually a real game.
Easier to talk about quarterbacks. Easier to talk about wide receivers and corners.
Yeah.
Easier to talk about offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Dangerous Dave 23 says, love you too. Crazy how long I've known of Lowell.
Thanks, Dangerous.
Gary Simonson 1135 says the DT situation is bleak. We have some very promising rookies, but rookie DTs rarely do very well. This could be a huge problem. Do you feel okay about Givens and Elliott if Collins and West aren't ready? Those guys are ideally backups that haven't, I don't know. Elliott has no sacks in the last 2 years. They're okay. They need the rookies, though. They need the rookies. All right, Dad. Let's talk Charvarius Ward. So we knew that something was off with Charvarius Ward last year. He was alluding to it in the locker room to me after games, and then he wouldn't talk about it. And then he had that terrible tragedy where his daughter passed away, and we thought that was the extent of it. But he did an interview with Mike Silver recently, and he explained in the Athletic that really what happened before then was that he wanted an extension with the 49ers. He was entering his last year under contract, just like Ayuk and Christian and Trent wanted extensions. And those guys two of those guys held out. Christian was hurt. They got extensions. Charvarius Ward was hurt, but he got surgery and under the supervision of the 49ers, didn't hold out, came back and was there for the whole offseason, and they never offered him an extension. And just the fact that they wouldn't even offer him one made him, really disillusioned. And he said that he was not really mentally in it all year, and he feels reinvigorated now because he's on a team that wants him, yada, yada, yada. So what do you think of that revelation?
Well, what he's saying is he felt alienated from ownership.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
From ownership in particular, yes.
Yeah. And Iggy, wasn't there a moment last season where he came over to you and said, Grant, I wish I could tell you what's going on with me? I'm paraphrasing.
And I kept texting him being like, what is it? And he wouldn't say. I was trying to guess. He's like, I don't want to make it a big thing. But now he said it.
He couldn't say it when he was on the team, but right. he almost said it. And it was to you. It was to you. He wanted to pour his heart out. So here's the guy. He had a tragedy, but I'm not saying aside from that, but in addition, he felt alienated and not loved. Okay, he felt alienated and not loved. Now, here's the point. Iggy, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is known. So
in
I
2023, he was absolutely great. He was so good.
Great. Yeah. And Iggy, and a good guy.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say I try to put myself in his mind. So now I'm Charvarius Ward, and I'm thinking, a lot of other people got extensions, people I don't think are better than me, or maybe not even as good as me. And what is going on here that they promote other people, but they actually don't even pay attention? Because what I read from Michael Silver was they didn't even talk to him about an extension or anything like that.
Yep.
And it would make you feel alienated, but me angry. It would make me feel angry, like, screw you. That's how I would feel, right?
Yes.
I think that would be fairly normal.
Right.
And it would also make me feel, what is the difference between me and these other guys?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
this is the point. Yeah, and there's some interesting differences, but this is one of the things that he pointed out. It's like Ayuk held in. Trent Williams wasn't. He held out. They weren't even there. They were on the field, and they got rewarded with extensions and did nothing after they got rewarded. Travarius Ward was there. He didn't hold out. He didn't complain, and they didn't reward him. They only reward bad behavior. They create bad precedents.
Right. I love what you're saying. It's not only that they reward bad behavior, that they create it.
Yes,
because there's a benefit from being selfish.
Yes.
From his point of view, selfish. It's business. I understand that. But the good guys who go through the program, they don't get rewarded. It's the ones who are the pain in the neck that get rewarded. And he must have felt like a schmuck. I'm a good guy, and look what happened to me. I shouldn't have been.
And what's interesting, too, is that they basically sold it to the team, the fans themselves, that they had to choose between Travarius Ward and Lenoir. You had to choose between them. And of course, they're going to choose Lenoir because he's younger. Well, they didn't have to choose between them. They could have had both. What's interesting is at the time it made sense because we thought the Niners were going to have no cap space. But now they have $45 million in cap space that we didn't expect them to have, that they're sitting on for some reason. They're going to roll it over to next year. They could have signed Travarius Ward. Instead, they let him go, and they're replacing him with Bernardo Green, who is very inexperienced and now injured. So of all the guys they lost this offseason, Travarius Ward might be the one that they regret the most.
Yeah, and from what I read in the article, he feels about the Niners good riddance.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be out of there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oof.
This is a guy who was he was a Pro Bowl cornerback. This was crazy. So he was a Pro Bowler in 2023. Big deal. I think it was his first time being a Pro Bowler, and he was so proud. We came out and talked to him. Then Kyle Shanahan maybe came out the same day, the next day. We were asking him about the Pro Bowl. He just flippantly said, well, Pro Bowl doesn't matter. It's really the all pro that matters. Dude, it matters to Travarius Ward. Why would you say that publicly? Pro Bowl doesn't really matter. It's really more the all pro. Thanks.
That's a put down of all of the guys on his team who go to the Pro Bowl.
Right.
He really said that, Iggy?
He really said that. And he didn't stop to think like, hey, there might be one guy on my team who made the Pro Bowl and not all pro who would take offense to that. And I don't need to say that. Anyway.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So that's Travarius Ward. Go ahead.
No, I'd say let's move on to Greenlaw.
Yeah, so it's interesting. The same day, Dre Greenlaw, this clip comes out. He's in Denver. They have the number one defense. He's healthy. They're raving about him. They love Dre Greenlaw. Sean Payton called him Mike Tyson. He's the Mike Tyson of their defense. We know Dre Greenlaw. So he spoke to the media. Someone asked him, like, why did you choose the Broncos over the 49ers? And he said, because they really made me feel wanted. It wasn't like contingent or maybe or if that, then this will happen. No, we want you on our team. And he's like, I was a foster kid. I'm not necessarily used to people wanting me like that. So it was an easy decision. As we know, the Niners sort of hemmed and hawed, didn't really know how they felt. And then at the last minute tried to match the Broncos offer and were rebuffed by Greenlaw. What do you think?
Let's not use passive voice. They were not rebuffed. He told them, forget it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
No passive voice here. He told them, forget it. So again, it's a case of this is a really important player, Iggy.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't yet replaced him, I don't think.
No.
This is a dynamite, dangerous player who makes Fred Warner better.
Yeah.
And they couldn't work it out, so they gave him the love that he needed. Iggy, when he says he's a foster kid, I find that so touching.
Yeah.
What he was saying is, I needed someone to hold my hand psychologically, but there was no one reaching out to me.
Nope.
I mean, don't you, as if you were a coach, like Dusty Baker, when he was a manager, he knew what every player in that clubhouse needed. Mm-hmm. For the sensitive ones, sometimes he'd bring them in cake because they had a bad day the day before. Other ones he would be tough with. He told me, Lowell, I could MF people like anybody else. He told me that. But a part of being a head coach or a manager is knowing who you have, knowing how to handle them, knowing how to promote them. And clearly, Greenlaw feels they didn't, that he was a foster kid and they didn't know what he needed. That's, Iggy, that's very sad. That is very sad. And it makes me think, who is there that actually knows the players, what they need? Who's there? It doesn't sound to me, I could be wrong, it doesn't sound to me like if I had a problem, Kyle Shanahan would be the first person I'd go to.
No. And I think the reason I've always gravitated to this person is because I feel like Saleh would be that person.
I agree.
I think he has that type of emotional intelligence.
He does. He would listen to you, and he would give you the correct advice, and he would either be very gentle or very strong.
Right.
No, you know what I mean? Or sure, I understand. I agree with you about Saleh. He's a mensch.
He's strong yet sensitive. Like, he's a good leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, it is kind of ironic. They let Greenlaw go. And I think basically they're like, look, we love Dre, but we got to make some tough decisions. And he's been hurt so much. And he's not really a great bet moving forward. I think that's kind of what they privately felt. And you know what? We'll see. Maybe they're right. It's just funny how they turn around and then then they draft Mykel Williams in round 1.
But
it's like, okay, Greenlaw, you can't rely on Greenlaw, but he's healthy and Mykel's not.
But in addition, they went after Greenlaw at the last minute.
True.
So they weren't even true to themselves.
Correct.
If the reports are right that they went and tried to match the offer, then they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't want him, then they wanted him.
Yeah.
Where do you stand? That's what I always feel about this group. What do you stand for? Who are you? Where do you stand? I knew where Bill Walsh stood. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up. I know where he standed. But we come to a more important point. Why is it that the Niners, and I'm going to inclusive, the Niners, didn't care to keep Ward or Greenlaw, but they kept others? We both have a theory. We can't prove it. We're not saying it's fact, but we have a theory. Would you like me to say it?
Sure.
Okay. It seems to me, as an observer who doesn't go down there anymore, that there's two kind of teams there. There's the guys who were in, and they're the guys who were not in. And I never understood that. To me, you're one team. Now, I could be wrong, but this is what it looks like from an outsider who has a lot of experience at this. It seems like people who were in, Trent Williams is in, Debo was in, Juszczyk is in, and we're going to come back to him in a minute. Juszczyk is in, McCaffrey is in, Kittle is in. But there are some people who never get in. And I think Greenlaw and Ward, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they were never in. And the ownership and the coaches and the general manager treated them casually and carelessly.
I call the inner group the clique, but what they call themselves is the core. The core. And what's interesting is Juszczyk, I think he spoke yesterday. It was yesterday. And, he always people always ask him big picture questions. He's like, yeah, we lost a lot of people this offseason, but we still have our core intact. We have George, we have Christian, we have Brock, we have me, we have Nick, we have Fred, we have, Trent, Jawan. He starts naming the core. It's like, what about Greenlaw wasn't in the core? How did you get in the core, but Greenlaw wasn't? How did the guy with 200 yards a season get in the core, but Greenlaw did? Greenlaw wasn't in the Travarius Ward wasn't in the core, but the fullback was. I don't get it. Why? Because you went to Harvard? Why? Because you can do these press conferences and answer big picture questions? If I were Dre Greenlaw, Travarius Ward, I would be annoyed about that thing in particular. Like, I understand you got to pay your left tackle and your quarterback, and there are certain positions that are very important, but the fullback? What? I don't get that.
Any team that didn't consider Dre Greenlaw to be in the core needs to have its collective head examined. He was so core. And so was Ward. I mean, so was Ward.
The only reason they won a playoff game in 22, they would have lost in the first round to the Packers, but Dre Greenlaw intercepted Jordan Love 2 times in that game. Not just once, twice. And the second one ended the game. He's the reason they won that game.
Okay. I want to come back to the fullback. Juszczyk really kills me. Did he really say he was in the core, or is it possible?
He really said he was in the core, Dad. I can get the quote, but he's like, we still got this. He's me, like me, you.
Okay, hold on. I would like to say that I'm impartial about Juszczyk, but I really don't like him at all. And I never met him. I would never want to meet him. I don't like the guy. In Brooklyn, we'd say he's a bum. For him to consider himself the core, that's a chutzpah. In Yiddish, a chutzpah is nerve to the living end. What a nerve. Greenlaw and Ward were among the 22 best players who would start. I'm not doing special teams. The 22 best players on the team. The fullback isn't. No. Whenever he's on the field, a better player is on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
If he's the core, they got a big problem. I got to tell you, Iggy. And there shouldn't be a core. It's a team.
Thank you.
The idea of, so he's not in the core, but there's no core.
There's no core.
In fact, let me tell you something. The way Bill Walsh understood it, Purdy is the core. He's the starting quarterback. Mac Jones is in the core. Because he may have to step up one day. And it's not going to be like, hey, you guy, you're not in the core, you're in the periphery. He's expected to win. He's in the core just like Purdy's in the core. That's how I learned football, and that's how football is. And the rest of the stuff is bullshit.
Thank you. So he's over here talking. He's done this before. He's done this all off season. If you ever ask him this question, he'll start rattling off players in the core. And the person he never mentions, as Adder Gang points out, is Brandon Ayuk. According to the 34-year-old fullback who runs the team, Ayuk isn't necessarily in the core. He'll always list 8 players and be like, I'm sure I forgot people. Yeah, you forgot the highest paid dude on the offense, the guy who's so much more important than you, Kyle. You forgot him. Every time you conveniently forget Brandon Ayuk. That's incredible. And you know what's funny too? Like, we're going to come to this guy in a minute, but Trey Lance's history with him, with the Niners, but didn't it always feel like part of the reason he never got, there was such resistance for him to play was Juszczyk and people, the core, being like, no, we like Jimmy. Jimmy's in the core. Trey isn't.
And in fact, when Trey got hurt, Iggy, correct me if I'm wrong, this Juszczyk, this Harvard grad, with pride, instead of saying, really, my heart goes out to my teammate, said, now we're going to play, Jimmy's coming back, now we're going to play 49ers football again.
Back to Niners football.
So, back to Niners football. What a crummy thing to say. Yeah. Again, it excluded Trey Lance, and it by implication excluded other people.
Yeah.
There's no core. The core are the people who are on the team.
Yeah. The core is 53 people large.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a terrible, terrible attitude. Again, I used the word alarming earlier before I lost this thing. This is alarming attitude. Yeah. And you know what? The coach should tell him that. Yeah. Kyle, I'm talking to you, Kyle Shanahan. When you hear that stuff, and you must know it, you've got to call your player in and say, we're a team. We're not 2 teams. Don't say that anymore. Where are you, Kyle Shanahan? Where are you? You have to say that.
Yeah.
Because people in the locker room know it. They know there's 2 teams. This is how I look at it. Yeah. And I think some players there look at it that way. Am I in the core or not? Yeah. That's not good in a locker room. It's one locker room.
Like, if you're not tight with Juszczyk and his family, then you're not in the core. That's kind of what it seems like. I got to be friends with you. I have to have your approval, 34-year-old fullback. Like, I think Dominic Pooney's more important to the team than Kyle Juszczyk. How is Pooney not in the core? Why? Because he's 24, 25? So? I think people who are 25 should be empowered to be in the core, not just a bunch of dudes in their 30s.
Iggy, I think Garendo's more important to the team than the fullback.
Let's name players who are more important than the fullback.
Well,
Every offensive lineman.
And every tight end.
Every tight end. Every wide receiver. Mac Jones. Yeah. Mac Jones is more important to this team than Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, and again, more if there is a core, which it shouldn't be, more entitled to be in the core than the fullback. And look, if it sounds like we're going after the fullback unfairly, I think it's fair. I think he shouldn't say things like that. And I think he shouldn't say things like that. And if he didn't say he's in the core, then I apologize. But if he did, it's not right. Someone should tell him not to do it. Yep. It's not how you represent a team.
That's right. Oh, we lost Dre Greenlaw and Tavarius Ward, but they weren't in the core anyway. Here's a guy who may or may not be in the core. Juszczyk says he's in the core. Juwan Jennings, but he wants an extension, hasn't gotten it yet. Last time we did our show, I think we both said we want him to get the extension. Now he's got a calf injury. It's his second calf injury of the offseason. The Niners aren't saying anything about it. Has your opinion changed? Do you think his position has gotten exponentially worse? What do you think?
Okay. First of all, I want to say he's in the core.
Yeah.
If there's a core, and I don't want it to be a core, he is more to the center of the core than the fullback is.
Yes.
He is a hell of a player. And every time Juszczyk is in and Juwan Jennings is not in, it's a shame. It's a mistake. It's a miscarriage it's a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah.
I really think he's entitled to his extension. Iggy, they really need him. If they don't think they need him, they're delusional. Mm-hmm. But like a good soldier, like Tavarius Ward, he went out and didn't want to be a problem, and he played. Our problem is we don't know how much he's hurt because they're not going to tell. And if I were running a team, I probably wouldn't tell either. I'm not faulting them for that. But it's hard to say. If he's got a minor tweak, I think he's still in a very powerful position, and I would like them to pay him a lot of money. Mm-hmm. If he's really, really damaged, I think life is tough. I wouldn't give him an extension. I don't owe him an extension if he can't play.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I hope that he can play and he gets a lot of money. But I'm in the dark, Iggy.
What I want to say about this, I think a lot of times with players, we as sports writers make it a moral issue, like whether he deserves it or whether he's getting screwed over. It's business. It's just business. And I think it's interesting how he kind of put himself in this situation. He had some leverage last year. He could have signed the Niners qualifying offer, played out his rookie deal, and been an unrestricted free agent this year. But instead, he asked for an extension, and he got it. So we got a modest raise, but they locked him in for 2 years, and the second year made it team friendly. So when he had a big year last year, instead of going straight to free agency, being the number one free agent wide receiver, making a ton of money, he's locked into that contract he signed last year. And now he wants another extension. And what the Niners could do is be like, all right, we'll give you another 2-year extension, but for like 11, 12 million a year. And if you have another big year next year, you're going to be pissed next offseason that you did this and didn't hit free agency. So maybe he should just bite the bullet and play for less, hit free agency next year. Or if the Niners want to help him out, they could give him like a raise for 1 year, but not an extension.
Sounds good to me. And it's, I also believe if he's not seriously hurt, they're going to work it out.
Yep.
But we don't know where he's at, Iggy.
So that being said, I feel like the Niners are interesting because they're not necessarily like one program. There's like different, like I could see John Lynch really wanting Juwan Jennings. He drafted Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is a John Lynch success story. But for Kyle, he could say, you know, maybe I could, instead of giving him money, maybe I could get the same production out of Demarcus Robinson. And if I do that, then I'm a genius.
And you know what? He might be right.
Yeah.
So he might be right.
Who wins out, you know?
Yeah. I can't argue with, if that's how he's thinking, Kyle Shanahan, I can't argue with that.
Right.
I suppose he knows more about his players than I do.
I suppose he does. As someone who's seen Demarcus Robinson for like, you know, a week in training camp, I think Juwan Jennings is better, but I don't even know if Juwan Jennings is healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Robinson is.
I'll tell you another thing. It's sad for the Niners. Here we are in training camp, and we don't even know where their best wide receiver is at.
No idea.
No idea.
Brandon Ayuk may play at some point this year. Jawan Jennings, who knows how hurt he is. Ricky Pearsall is replacing Deebo Samuel because he's unreliable, and turns out that Ricky Pearsall might be more unreliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are, I got to say, okay. What's
Here
our
are their
next
receivers. Their starting receivers today at camp: Demarcus Robinson, who will be suspended for the first couple of games, most likely, and Russell Gage, who hasn't caught a pass in an NFL game since 2022.
That's
he's good.
Promising.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Jesse Thompson says 79. Lowell, you've taken great care of yourself.
I'm trying. Thank you. And I'm going to be 80 in November.
That's right. William Gelman says this is by far the most dramatic team in the NFL, all about status, saving face, and saying the right thing instead of actually winning Super Bowls.
You know, it's funny. They haven't won any Super Bowls.
That is true.
No.
Yeah. I was looking at the stats. They haven't won. Okay, here's one more thing before we go. Tomorrow is the Hall of Fame game, which is the first preseason game of the offseason. It's Chargers against someone. And apparently Trey Lance is going to be starting it. I'm going to watch. I'm still interested in his career for now. Mostly because Jim Harbaugh has taken a liking to him. And I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the most interesting quarterbacks in football. And if it doesn't work out with Harbaugh, we're probably going to work out at all. So this is it. I think it's interesting. Are you interested at all in the Trey Lance story anymore?
Oh, very much so. And I know that you like him personally also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was a good fit for the Niners, and I don't think really he got a good shot over there, especially the way the fullback seems to have not really cared for him very much at all. So I want to say a couple of things. If Harbaugh really makes him into a respectable quarterback, in a way, it's a comment on the Niners because they didn't know how to do it. But I want to give Kyle Shanahan some credit because what Harbaugh is doing is trying to resurrect a career. And it's exciting and generous. But Kyle does that too. Kyle currently is doing that to Mac Jones.
Yep.
Doing the exact same thing. And he seems that Mac Jones is a better fit for what Kyle does. So in that regard, he's as good as Harbaugh. And 2 seasons ago,
Darnold. Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. 2 seasons ago, he did it with Darnold and saved his career. Yeah. So you might think that we would go after Kyle in this case, but no. He's doing exactly what Harbaugh is doing. He had success with Darnold, and he may have success with this other kid because, Iggy, I'm going to tell you, Mac Jones is going to play.
Yep.
He may play a half. He may play 2 or 3 games. He's going to play. And I think this is, compared to what they had last season, he's a backup you can depend on and be proud of. And all the credit goes to Kyle.
Yeah, it does. I do think it's interesting with Lance. It seems like the experience with the 49ers broke his confidence in a lot of ways, broke his leg, broke his confidence. And it would be interesting to see if Harbaugh would be the one to fix that, because he did that. He fixed Alex Smith. Alex Smith his confidence was completely shattered. So many different coaches told him he was terrible, and then Harbaugh got him believing in himself in 1 year. So he can have that effect on quarterbacks, but at the same time, it's kind of interesting how Kyle could have that effect on Mac Jones. And if Trey Lance ends up being a success with the Chargers or somewhere else after being coached by Jim Harbaugh, and Mac Jones is great for the Niners or somewhere else, then you can't really hold it against Kyle. He just found his quarterback somewhere else.
Iggy, I'm sorry. You're nicer than I am. I'd kind of hold it a little bit against Kyle Shanahan. It was their first round draft.
Fired for it.
No, but I mean, they traded up. They really blew it, and they didn't know how to develop him. Having said that, so I don't give him any credit for and some demerits for Lance, but I give him credit for Sam Darnold and for what he's doing with this Mac Jones. So I give him credit, and I applaud it.
Yeah. It's too bad that Trey Lance had to be like collateral damage or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was just a disaster. If he had only been drafted anywhere else, he'd probably been in a better situation. But that's all in the past. And I just think it's fun that Jim Harbaugh. Do you think Jim Harbaugh? Why do you think he wanted Trey Lance? I'm sure. I mean, he's a former high draft pick. There's stuff to work with there, but there's got to be like a petty angle here.
Oh, he wants to show up Kyle Shanahan.
Yes,
or Jed.
Yeah.
Look, we don't know. I haven't talked to him in years, to Harbaugh in years, but I know how he is. He's very competitive, and I think it's possible he's thinking, "Oh, you gave up on this guy. Watch, I see something in him. I'm going to make him a player." Jed, that's what I think.
You said something a minute ago that I agreed with. You said Mac's going to play this year. I agree. Here's my thing with Brock. I talk a lot about his interceptions, and it's something he should work on. But I don't think that's going to be what could jeopardize his career. What's going to jeopardize his career is how much he runs, because he's little, and he's not Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson. Like, all it's going to take is one hit, and he can miss a lot of time, and he puts himself out there in ways that Mac Jones doesn't. So yeah, I think Mac's going to play.
Yeah, I think he's going to play. And what I want to say is my takeaway is that Kyle Shanahan is well prepared.
Yep.
God love him.
Yep. And what's going to be interesting is what's interesting again is like watching these two guys. Mac is not trying to do anything special in camp. He's just trying to hang on. And what he's doing is executing the offense the way Kyle wants it. And it's looking pretty good. With Brock, it almost feels like he thinks he needs to do a little extra. That just executing the offense isn't good enough because he's getting paid $53 million a year. So he always has these little moments where he's spinning around and doing stuff, and it's fun. And then he throws the interception to the linebacker. It's like, what? So I think there's more pressure on him this year, and it's going to be interesting to see how that actually manifests itself in games. And if he's like up and down or he kind of struggles a little bit for whatever reason, may not even be his fault, goes out for a week or two, and Mac Jones lights it up, that'll be rough for him and his contract. People be like, why are we paying all this money? But that's down the line. I'm just saying it's nice to have a good backup quarterback. That's where we're at right now. It's nice to have a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, and I would phrase it, it's nice to have two good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's like pitching. You can't have enough pitching. You can't have enough quarterbacks.
It's so weird because there was a bizarro world where the Niners would have drafted Mac Jones, and we would have been watching him for the last 5 years, and maybe Trey would have never been here, and Brock would have never been a starter. But now we're in this world where Mac is climbing out of the gutter. He's had all of this heartbreak, and it's very interesting. It's a really interesting training camp. I like watching. It's good. Good stuff. They got to stop getting hurt, though. That's my one suggestion as quality control. Stop getting hurt. Because you can't play football if you're not playing football.
You got to be a football. You got to be a football player. You got to be a football player.
Jermaine Pick has been a member for 46 months. That's a long time. Thank you so much, Dad. I think we're out of topics.
I got another topic.
Talk to me.
Okay. I wrote on my Substack the other day about training camp, how it used to be, and how I think it is now. You got to remember, I don't go. Now, it's very hard to get to talk to a player alone. And in the old days, I got to tell you, and I'm talking Bill Walsh, George Seifert. They used to practice up in Rockland. So they had lunch in a big dining hall, I guess the dining hall for Sierra College. And they had, you'd move your tray across like a buffet. Well, we were part of that. There was a table for the media. Ira Miller sat there. Gary Niver sat there. I sat there. Clark Judge sat there. And we would go over after maybe everyone was done eating and sit with the players and talk to them. And they expected us to be. Bill Walsh would come over and sit with us. He would eat with us. He would talk to us. It was normal. And it was collegial. I mean, they hadn't played any games. All we were doing were writing, how they were doing and profiles. And it was really nice. And you didn't have to ask anybody, could I have permission to talk to so-and-so? I wanted to talk to Steve Young. So I went up to Steve Young. No one got in my way. And I say, Steve, let's talk. See, hello, we'll meet here and we'll talk for 45 minutes.
Mhm.
Dwight Clark, it was nothing. Like now, it's almost like trying to get into the Pentagon, the way I understand it. And I think that a lot has been lost. So I want to tell you one particular story. They had brought Russ Francis into training camp. Russ Francis was a great tight end, but they had Charlie Young, who was a
Mhm.
great tight end, and they were both great guys. I love tight ends. They're the most interesting players on the team, tight ends. And Charlie was pissed because he knew that Bill was going to get rid of him and he was going to keep for us. I liked them both. So I said, hey, Charlie, you want to talk? And he said, yeah, let's take a walk. Iggy, let's take a walk. Is that going to happen in Santa
No,
Clara?
the PR staff
So
wouldn't let it happen.
yeah. So he says, I said, when do you want to take a walk, Charlie? He says, there's a stream down here. You probably don't even know about it. There's a stream. I said, fine. I'm in no hurry. He said, yeah, let's talk by the stream. So here I am with this great tight end. We're walking to the stream. We sit on some rocks, Iggy, like mid-afternoon. And he's talking about how he's pissed because he knows that they're going to give it to Russ. And he says, I don't know how Russ is going to turn out. I think he said something like, he's going to be like a Mercedes in the burning sands. Rusted out in the burning sands. And then I happened to notice there's a crawfish on one of the lower rocks. So I said, look at that, Charlie. There's a crawfish. And he says, no, that's a lobster. And I said, Charlie, as far as I understand it, crawfish is freshwater and lobsters are saltwater. He says, no, you're wrong. He says, that's a lobster. And for the next few minutes, we had a debate on whether the crawfish was a crawfish or a lobster. So when I wrote my column that day, it was all about lobsters and crawfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Charlie had such an imagination, and I was always trying to get to the heart of who you are. So I wrote it, and then sometime not long after, I bumped into Charlie. I don't think he was on the Niners anymore, Iggy. And he comes over to me and says, Lowell, it was a lobster.
That's so funny.
It couldn't happen now, Iggy. You
Can I
couldn't
tell you
get a
how
lobster.
access has evolved since I've been there? I've been there 15 years. When I first started, you were allowed to. It's a big square, and you're allowed to walk around the perimeter wherever you want to go. There were even bleachers you could walk on and go up to get like a higher view. You could go wherever you wanted, and the whole idea was they wanted the media to get the best view possible. They really wanted us to see practice. Over the years, we can't go all around the square anymore. We were limited to two sides. Now we're limited to one side of the square. And now it's so bad that we're on one sideline and they're doing a, 11-on-11 scrimmage. We have to be behind the offense. We're like in a corral to a specific spot. So the offense is here, and then there's all the players and coaches, and then there's us. So we're like looking through people. And it's like, did you see who caught that? Yeah. Did you see who caught that? Did you see who? It's like we don't really get to see everything like we need to. In addition, they charge fans to come and watch, and then they do the practice like 200 yards away from the fans who paid to watch. I don't understand what the whole thing is about anymore. If you don't want people to go, then don't invite anyone. But I don't know.
Well, what I want to say is, I know what you mean, and it burns me up, but it's not only the 49ers. It's the whole league, Iggy. It's the 49ers are simply doing what they're told to do, what the whole league is doing. It used to be a very media-friendly league. Now it's really media stay away. Yeah. And I want to make a point, because you people watching think, oh, the media, who cares about the media? They're a pain in the neck anyway. I got it. You don't like us. I got it. But one of the things we do is we let you know what's going on in these privileged spaces. I would even say sanctified spaces that you can't really go to, the practice field, the locker room, things like that. We perform a service for you that you wouldn't get otherwise. And the league should enable us to do that. And it's sad that the league that used to be so open is not open anymore. And even, I would say, again, I haven't done this in 7 years, but Major League Baseball and the NBA are still quite welcoming. And, you can talk to Stephen Curry before a game. You can be in the clubhouse before a game talking to people, and after a game. And no one comes over to you and says, time's up if you're talking to a player, or a couple more questions. They don't come over to you at the Giants, at least when I was there, and tell you if I was interviewing Pablo Sandoval that I couldn't do it anymore. I would talk to Pablo as long as I needed to. And they would, even if I needed, get an interpreter if I'm having trouble with them.
The culture in the NFL is to see what the league's rules are, bare minimum for what they have to give media, and to work within those minimum constraints and to find ways to really even give less. So we have to let you out in the field, but let's maybe give them a bad view. You know what I mean? We have to let them interview people, but let's cut off the interview after 4 minutes. We fulfilled our obligation. Yeah, we're really just actually trying to frustrate you and not actually enable you to do your job.
Iggy, in the years past when I did it, and this is during the regular season, at the end of a practice, we'd be out there and players would walk off the field. And I feel, and not only me, we felt quite comfortable to walk up to a player as he was going toward the locker room. Steve Young, I mean, name it. Say, Steve, I know you have to go in the locker room. I have a few questions. Can you give me 4 minutes? Whatever you need, Lowell. It was normal. Iggy, you can't do that anymore, right?
No, now you would have to go to not the PR director, because the PR director wouldn't want to do that, but they'd probably delegate it to someone else in the PR staff who's like 25, and you'd need that person to go talk to the player for you. You couldn't do it yourself. Wait.
And the player, the PR guy might not have his heart into it.
Right.
And he might even be, it's all right. And he might even be a little intimidated by the players, whereas a journalist wouldn't be. A journalist would go up and say, you got a few minutes. Can you imagine Jerry McDonald down there? You think he's afraid to go up to any player?
No.
He's talked to 1 million players. More famous than are on the Niners right now, Jerry McDonald. And he doesn't need anyone to intercede for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that rant.
Yeah. Yeah. Also one more thing, and then we'll go. It used to be, not even that long ago, 5 years ago, you would get to camp and the media would be notified before practice started with an email. These are the players who aren't going to be out there today. And here's why. Don't ask. We'll let you know. Don't speculate in your blogs or your streams or your columns. Here's the information. Now we walk out there and it's like, hey, I guess Ricky Pearsall isn't here. Hey, what's up with Ricky? Oh, you don't know? Okay. Like, Diamador Lenore wasn't there. Why? You don't know? Okay. Well, that'd be kind of, so now we have to tell all the Niner fans, hey, Lenore wasn't there. It might be serious. He might be hurt. It might be legal. It might be nothing. Why is that good for the team? You know. So tell us. I don't understand. Other than that, I think they're doing a great job. Love training camp, having a great job, having a great time at training camp. The food is good. I got to say, they bring in these little sandwiches every day. Today was prosciutto, Dad. Prosciutto, and I want to say like sun-dried tomatoes with a little bit of pesto. It was nice.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah. They have fruit cups in the morning. I feel well fed there. It's nice.
I like a fruit cup.
I can't see practice per se, but I'm not hungry. I like that.
All right.
Can you ask the org what's happening with Matos? I asked. They said knee. Sorry. Not laughing at him. It's just another guy who's hurt and never gets healthy on this team. But maybe the next one. I don't know. Dad, I love you.
I love you. This was a lot of fun. We got our yayas out.
I'll be back tomorrow. Day